learning stuff, and like it's more like lectures. Personally, I thought it was really boring. And now this year, like it's like you have to pay attention because it's like actually interesting, and like the things we're doing in class, like the projects, like I don't know, I guess it's more interesting, and you like feel like you have, like can put in your own like say into like the conversation.
It has like allowed us to be able to have access to what the textbook limits us to, and it allows us to see like the different perspectives instead of what the hand-picked authors would want us to know about in the textbook.
Well, like Mr. Shoemaker always talks about an illusion of a rock skimming water. Like when you skip a rock, it bounces off the surface a few times. And that's kind of like what textbooks do. It doesn't really go into depth a lot. It forces you to kind of like memorize facts more. And the laptops kind of give you a whole new world of information that's available to you. And it allows you to go more into depth. He will say like, well, instead of skimming a rock, just get a full kind of plunk it right in. So just go into depth in the topics more. I think that's kind of important. Kind of helps them.
It was a lot less boring and structured and more open-ended, but also more interesting. And I felt like even though like I wasn't as structured and learning question by question, what was this, I retained a lot of the information better than I would have had I simply read it from a textbook and wrote down answers. Like it was kind of like we were discovering the information for ourselves, and then like doing more with the information than we would have had we just been like copying down notes or answering something in it.
New like cartoons and movies, all this crazy stuff that I didn't even think you could possibly do on the computer, and now it's sitting in my lap in history class, and I'm like, whoa. So at first it was kind of weird. Now I'm seeing like all the ways that you can apply everything that you're learning, and Mr. Shoemaker brought it up all year, and it's finally hitting me. He's like, in real life, you don't just take tests. You don't just memorize things and take tests. You have to apply your knowledge, and you have to work with the things that you're learning. And all year I was like, yeah, okay, but I'm finally seeing exactly what he means, and I really appreciate the Macbooks.
We're more comfortable, like, because we'll do like, he'll ask a question, and like if nobody knows the answer, he won't just like stand there and be like, well, this is what happened. He's like, all right, well, go find it. Go find the answer. And we all open up and find the answer, and it's just so much more interesting that way than like somebody standing in front of the classroom and being like, here's what happened, and then in 1958, that's what happened. Like, you're going on and you're like, hey, look at this cool website I found. Like, this makes it so interesting, and it's just so much better that way.
Instead of memorizing a bunch of little things that you'll forget anyway right after you take your final, you memorize these big important points during like these lessons that you'll always remember, and that it kind of helps.
I really like the way it's changed the way we work in the classroom. Instead of the teacher just standing up giving a lecture, he says, all right guys, go research this thing online, find out what you can, and we'll have presentations tomorrow. And all of our presentations are pretty informal because we have so many resources. And it's really like full immersion into whatever it is we're learning, instead of just stand and deliver a presentation from our teacher that we've had for 10 years.
Presentations and stuff have gone to the next level because it's not just normal stand and deliver, but it's generally interaction, and that's one key thing that Mr. Shoemaker had told us about. Since we have these available to us, our interaction has to be more in-depth with the class instead of just standing there and presenting what's on the board or whatever research that we found. I think that the laptops allow us to do a creative interaction instead of just...
My grades now are so much better than any of the previous years that I've taken social studies, which is like all of them. But, and it just goes to show that like this way of learning is, I know it might not be like easy for everyone, but it definitely, I think, is a lot better.
We can do so much more with this than like we did iMovies this year, and we did PowerPoints, and just like we made people talking, like Vokies or whatever they were called. Like it was cool. It was more fun. It made it interesting. It made it easier to learn than sitting and listening to somebody present from a tripod pointing to things.
Yeah. presentations we've done over the year have gotten more technologically complicated, I guess you'd say. We've moved from just using PowerPoint, which we've been doing since PowerPoint came out. We've used programs like iMovie, Comic Life, iWeb. We've made websites, we've made web quests. We've done a bunch of things. We've used online tools to make the presentations more interactive, so we have the class working along with us while we're presenting. It's just the laptops have given us so much more to work with when we do presentations.
Someone loses a worksheet, like you could just send them another copy over the Moodle or something. So it's not like it's for someone and just like send them to them, and then there's no more issues of being like missing classes or like just losing any assignments.
And by using the
Open up and allow it to be not just one type of learning, but to reach all the different types of learning needed to be like to each student.
we make documentaries, like that's big stuff.
Yeah.
We made a movie and we had transitions, we had voiceovers, narration. It was just really cool, and then we spent the whole day watching them, and it was like just something to be proud of, like not just an ordinary, like we compared them to try.
The great part about having Macbooks is that no one gets left behind, because everything that you have, it has to be presented. And like you see, obviously the kids who are better with the MacBooks and the ones that have it at home and the people that spend more time on it, and you're like, well, I want to do that. So then everyone keeps trying to like get better at it, that no one gets like lost into the classroom. And the best part is with projects, like every person is good at different things, and on a poster board or like, I don't know, dioramas, it's just like there's only so much that you can do. And with Macs, it's just there's no, it's unlimited. There's no end to the opportunities that it gives you, and it's just crazy how it allows everyone to figure out what they can do best and to bring that in like together.
Computers have definitely inspired us to be more creative with how we present, and it's not just stand up and give a PowerPoint anymore. We're more interactive with telling people to go research online instead of us presenting the information.
But like at least with the Macs notes, you can sit there and you can type your own notes instead of just drawing in your hand and not being able to write for the rest of the day. You can just type it all out, and you can also, while you're doing that, you can multitask and look for like diagrams or anything online that can help you understand it. We did a wiki with all these phyla instead of having our teacher just lecture about it. We actually taught the class, and we all had the wiki space with all of our different PowerPoints that we uploaded, and we taught everyone about the different
Alright, so having these, even just years, really, I think, prepared me for college, because I know the way most colleges work now, every student has their own laptop. And I guess it really depends on what you're going into and how much you use it, but personally I'm going into the technology field. So just having this laptop and being able to what I've used computers for before, is really, I think I'll have a much easier time when I get to college.
In the future, to where a lot of kids, they don't have internet and they don't have this on their computers, and they're missing a lot of things, but if we have these laptops, they'll make us more alert and very prepared for whatever we're going into, whatever field or whichever career we're going into.
Showed us like Google Docs and like Digo. Like you're not going to learn that in any classes with a textbook, but like with like the new things that he allowed us to use that we can incorporate into our learning experience, you can kind of use them to like, one, organize yourself a little bit better, communicate with your group mates or are studying the same stuff as you are, and it just kind of helps like for this kind of, oh well, this makes it a lot easier than just the simple notebook and pencil.
A lot of the skills that I used this year using the laptop is very helpful like in the future. A lot of the stuff that we picked up in a lot of different programs we've used, I could see myself using. I already have used and worked on a lot fast in my classrooms.
Easier if you can just carry your own around, like if you have your everything, your life at your fingertips, like you can go online, you can get all your resources, all your sources, you can type up your report and make your iMovie, and then you're set to go. You don't have to transfer it from computer to computer. And
I just think we should be able to have these accessible to us for like 24 hours because there are a lot of times where we have to prolong like due dates for certain projects because we're not done, or we only get the certain amount of time that we have in class to use them, or come after school. But since people's schedules, conflict with each other, if we had these 24/7, it would allow us to get our work done on time and keep going on.
If the school is pushing so many other aspects of technology on us, it's only fair to let us use it during the time that we're allotted to be using it. So we should have laptops.
It's like you're sitting. I personally think that if we're gonna keep moving along with the MacBooks, that every student should get their own MacBook, because there's so many like things on like Macs that you can't get with PCs, and it's really hard to get everything that you want to get done in school. So I think we should really move forward and try to get MacBooks for every student in the school. And I just think that would work better. And like,
I wish that everyone could have them, because there are so many students who are better. They're better than me to be with a Mac, and like my sister, for example, is like so good with computers. At home, she's doing all this kind of stuff. What is that? I've never seen it before, and it's on the computer. And have them in any of her classes, and I'm like, wow. So it's like so unfortunate that not everyone has it, and I think that everyone should be given that opportunity, because you'd be so surprised at what the students could do with it. And I think that WIS would just look so much, because we would be able to show like how talented our students really are.
I personally have my own Mac, so I can take it home and work on the stuff that's back home and finish it up. But a lot of people have them just for in class. So if we get our own personal Mac that we can take home, it would be a lot more helpful with the project. So I got that.
using the Macs, you're using less paper. It would be so much easier to just carry this around than like my huge backpack and going to your locker between every single period. Like, you don't need to carry around 50 binders. Everything is just in this one little light thing.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
We want that!